Last class we have studied upsampling and downsampling. Now we have to see interpolation and decimation. There's not much difference between upsampling, downsampling, and decimation and interpolation. They are simply when you have what we know when what we have done in the upsampling, we have taken one sequence and what are the, by what factor we have to uh, upsample. That means when two input and output rate sampling rates they are different and you want to make them on the same platform, you are multiplying with that factor, and to do so you are inserting the I minus 1 zeros in that. That means by what factor you want to do upsampling, 2 3 4, that minus 1, that means zeros you are going to put into it. Okay, so that's what you are doing in upsampling. So now the extension of your upsampling or the difference between your upsampling and decimation is simply you have this much part. If you see this much part, this is what my upsampling is. Okay, that means the upsampling followed by the low pass filter is nothing but your interpolation. Okay, so formula for the interpolation is something like this: x of xp of n equals to x of n by I, where n values are from 0 plus or minus I plus or minus 2I and so on. Otherwise, it is 0. So this relationship is important whenever you are explaining about the interpolation and decimation, because this will help to do the derivation for interpolation and decimation. That means what you can see here, only I have added a low pass filter which is at the output of the upsampling, which will give me a interpolation. Why we have done so? Because that answer is pending. So in short, only I will say uh, what I say is, in case of interpolation, you are doing upsampling and allowing it to pass through the low pass filter. The work of this low pass filter is to avoid the images. That means it is acting as an anti-imaging filter. It acts as an anti-imaging filter. So I'm not elaborating, I'll elaborate later. Simply I'm saying you are applying this upsampling to the low pass filter, which will do anti-imaging effect. So that's why at the output of your interpolation, at the output of your upsampling, we are applying a low pass filter. Whereas in case of down sampler, what we have, what we know in downsampling, uh, what we know in your downsampling is you are going to decrease the number of samples. That means you are going to increase the sampling rate between two samples, two successive samples. So what you know, this part was hidden. It was not there in decimation. Simply x of n is applied. Your x of n was applied to the downsampling and you got y of n, which is nothing but fx by t. Okay, so here what you can see, before the downsampling, you have used your low pass filter. So again, what is the work of this? That means when you apply the input or pass through input the low pass filter and then given to the downsampling, it will act as a decimation. So what is the use of this in interpolation? What you have done, first you have your I upsampling followed by the low pass filter. Here first low pass filter followed by the decimation. What is the difference of these? Both of them are the low pass filters, only the work what they are doing, that is different. Though they are acting as a low pass filter only, rejecting the frequencies only. Thing is what, when it is at the input or at the output. Here I can say at the output and I have applied LPF, and here at the input of circuit we have used your LPF. The purpose of that LPF is to avoid the anti-imaging effect, and the input the filter which we are using at the decimation, the use of it is to have to not have aliasing effect. Means to provide anti-aliasing effect, we are using the low pass filter at the input of your decimation and vice versa in case of your interpolation. So same way, the formula for your downsample decimation will go like here xp of n equals to x of n into d. This is n by I. Here it will come x of n into d, where n ranges from 0 plus or minus d plus or minus 2d, 3d and so on. So this is what a simple, in brief I said, what is the difference between your upsampling and interpolation, downsampling and decimation. When you don't have any low pass filter, only you have the arrow with I or arrow increasing arrow with a D, increasing arrow with I and decreasing arrow with a D, they are nothing but upsampling and decimations. How we have done upsampling and decimation, that we have seen in the last class. Now only I am adding the low pass filter at the output and low pass filter at the input. The function, the function which has to get performed by that low pass filter varies when we are keeping at the output of interpolation and the input of your decimation. Okay, so that I'll elaborate frankly, imaging and aliasing when I'll talk about in detail about interpolation and decimation. Okay. Now the next third is the important one more important topic called as sampling converter using interpolation divided by decimation factor. Sampling converter using I by D factor. When this kind of thing will be useful and how it will be. In earlier cases, what we have done, I have take some x of n of sampling rate f of x, some value, let us say here 4 kilohertz, and your output was 8 kilohertz, or you may take your 8 kilohertz, 16 kilohertz, or 2 kilohertz, 24 kilohertz, anything that we know how to do the upsampling, or if it is less, how to do downsampling. But now if you are dealing with the factors like you have the input sampling rate as a 4 kilohertz and the output sampling rate which you want to get it converted is of 6.5 kilohertz or 8.5 kilohertz, 9.5 kilohertz, something like that. Means some fractional part, some rational factor when it exists, how to do upsampling or downsampling of that. That is the problem, which we cannot do with only simply this using interpolation or decimation. You should do something extra. So what is that? That we have to see. So let us think that what we know, when you have to do the 4 to 8 kilohertz, we may use your interpolation, right? Now here you see, for example, here what I have done, your input sampling rate f of x upsampled by a factor, then you are applying to the low pass filter, and then you are getting I into f of x. Okay, fine. Or else you can have like hd of k into decimation, nothing but fx by d. Now, if you multiply this two, what you can see, you get id by fx. We get id by fx. Means when you are when you want the rational factors conversion for the sampling rate, we should see interpolation by decimation factors, which help us to get this kind of fractional part sampling rate convergence. Okay, that means here what we need is we can use upsampling, you can use a downsampling, and then we will get I by D factor, which will give the result of something like this. Okay, then there are two ways to do so. One is what you can either use interpolation first followed by decimation, or you can use decimation block first and then followed by your interpolation. That means we are going to cascade your upsampling and downsampling or interpolation and decimation so as to obtain the fractional part convergence of the sampling rate. So there are two choices. First is I, then D, or second is first D followed by I. So because either way you connect I by I followed by D or D followed by I, your output remains same. The answer which will be obtained will be remain same. How you can say this? Let us say you are using first interpolation. That means now here the topic called cascading of I and D, or else the question may be asked, you have to give the sampler rate conversion for I by D factors or else fractional part convergence, or explain the cascading of interpolation and decimation. So under that you have to write all this. First you are giving what I'm saying, I have option. First my aim is to have I by D. How to get I by D? Why I by D I want? Because I am dealing with the fractional parts. To obtain, so what I can do, I can use interpolation and decimation. That means I need to cascade both of them. So that what I can see here, interpolation output is this, and this is your decimation. They are the individual, if you see, this is your interpolation and individually this is your decimation. Then when you multiply these two, multiplying these two means what? In our digital systems you are cascading both of them. when you cascade, when you multiply this, what you will get? Your I by D into Fx. The new sampling rate which you will get is I by D. Okay. So now, as you want this factor, we need to cascade upsample, interpolation and decimation. So first I, then D, or first D, then I. Why so I'm saying? Because I will, in both the cases, I will get the answer same only. But still I have a choice. I will select any one only. Why so? That we have to see. So first, as I said, any ways you use, you will get the same answers I said. So for that, you see this figure. When you have this sampling rate f of x, input x of n is sampled at the rate f of x, which is nothing but 1 by tx, which you are giving to the interpolation, which will give I into fx. Okay. Then when you are applying this will be input now for decimation. Definitely, what is the input you give to the decimation, it will divide that, right? So ifx by d, ifx by d will be your output. That means I by d into fx. Okay. Now what you do in the second case, you use your downsampling. What we know, when you do the downsampling, when what are the input you have given, pass through the upsampler, you are getting that sample divided by decimation factor fx by d. And now then this complete will be acting as input fx by d to the interpolation. The work of that interpolation is what? Whatever the input is coming to it, it has to get multiplied. So this is your input. By this factor, it has to get multiplied. So your answer will be I into fx by d. That means in both the cases, either you use I first and then d, or else vice versa, you get the same answer. That means no issue. I can use any one of this. But again, I said I should select correctly either I or D or I. So for that reason, what I say is, whenever you are cascading the interpolation and decimation, that time one should select interpolation followed by the decimation, not vice versa. Why so? Why so? Why so? Because here the theoretical reason, because you can see the graph also for that. When you are doing interpolation, when we are doing interpolation, means what you are doing, if you remember, you are doing upsampling. What do you mean by upsampling? What do you mean by upsampling here? You are inserting zeros into it, right? You are inserting zeros. How many zeros you are going to insert? I minus 1 zeros you are going to insert over there. That means, can I say the output response or the frequency spectrum, if I use upsampler, it will be a compressed one, because earlier you have a more distance between two samples. Now the sample distance is getting decreased. That means frequency spectrum of this signal obtained will be compressed one, right? That means we can say that by when you are inserting the number of zeros, when you are inserting the number of zeros into it, when you are inserting the number of zeros in between this, so as to reduce the sampling rate. So what you can see, the frequency spectrum or spectral characteristics will get reduced. That means we are not going to change the shape of the signal. That means, in short, we can say, to maintain the spectral characteristics or to preserve the frequency spectrum, I repeat, to maintain the spectral characteristics or to preserve the frequency spectrum, we use interpolation first, followed by the decimations. Because in interpolation, it is only the compression of the signal. Because in interpolation, it is only compression of the signal, and signal doesn't change any shape. But if you use decimation first, we know that in decimations you are going to discard, you are going to drop the samples. So because of that, the signals which are having frequency above pi by d will get rejected, and as the samples are getting rejected, the reconstruction becomes a difficult problem. Therefore, to avoid all these glitches, we are using first interpolation followed by the decimation and not the vice versa. And definitely when you are doing so, only upsampling and downsampling will not do anything. Definitely, we want interpolation and decimation. That means, as I said, I'll be using first I followed by D, then I will get my I by D factor, which will, because of, if I arrange so, I will maintain the spectral characteristics of signal, frequency spectrum of the signal. At the same time, the reconstruction of the signal becomes much more easier. That's why we are doing so. So as you can see in your figure, first is the input which you are going to give at the sampling rate, upsampler. Then this is what your low pass filter is. This put together will give you interpolation. Now second part is your first, then the second part is your decimation, which includes the low pass filter followed by the down sampler, which will give you I by D into Fx. Now you can see there are two low pass filters, right? Only the work of those two filters are different, but they are they use for the same purposes, to allow some band of frequencies, to reject some band of frequencies, right? So instead of having two low pass filters, can we merge together and get the new one? Yes. So you can have this first, this, the input which get upsampled by this will be applied to the low pass filter, and then this low pass filter output will be applied to the decimation. So that means, in short, the approximated block diagram representation of cascading of I by D is look something like this. It look like something like this. Okay. Now, as I said, the part which is like, I said, what did I say? In case of low ups interpolation, I'm using this filter to avoid the images. That means it acts as anti-imaging filter, and this filter will act as a uh, anti-aliasing filter. So, right. So how we'll see that we have to see, okay, through the derivation. In exam, if they ask about interpolation and decimation, first you explain about upsampling. Then draw the figure for the interpolation. Okay, and the third thing will be that we are going to do is interpolation in Z domain. Like that, one has to finish their write up in from the exam point of view. If the question comes from interpolation and decimation, first explain upsampling, then draw the interpolation figures, then last one will be your derivation, last the equation. Okay, this is how you finish one topic of your interpolation. Same way you have to go for the decimation. This is very easy calculations, easy expressions which you can see here. Interpolate, the topic may be called as interpolation in Z domain. Though I have separated it and I'm trying to explain, but when you are writing in the exam, you club these three. What is that? When interpolation, upsampling, then upsampling explanation, then interpolation, block diagram, and last one is the derivation, which we are doing right now. Okay, same way you have to go for decimation, uh, downsampling, decimation, block diagram, and third one is the derivation for the decimation. Okay, and if cascading is asked, both you explain and draw this the last figure which I said you just now. Okay, now in this we can see the time domain representation and the frequency domain representation of interpolation. So as I said, this is a very important formula one has to remember when you are explaining about interpolation and decimation. What was that? X of n equals to x of n by I at when for the values of n equals to 0, plus or minus I, plus or minus 2i, plus or minus 3i. Okay, now let us say, like this all I have explained to you, still I am repeating. You have the sequence x of n, let us say 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we are doing, that means this is your x of n signal. Now you are applying to the upsampling you want to do. Let us say you have to do upsampling by the factor of 2. That means 2 minus 1, I minus 1 zeros you need to insert into it, and then you have to apply to the low pass filter. Okay, that is what we have to do. So that means definitely when you are inserting, that means here if you see x of n, 1 2 3 4, n equals to 0, n equals to 1, n equals to 2, and n equals to 3. That means at n equals to 3 value, you got the last magnitude. But when you are inserting the number of zeros in between, definitely your y of n, now n will be, this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. At last, at seventh interval, at sixth interval, you get your 4. Whereas here, you got at third interval only. That means what? Here you can see. So when you're talking about time domain representations, write these equations, draw this figure which you have already drawn earlier. That's why I did not continue over here. Now I was talking about anti-imaging and anti-aliasing, something like that, right? So now what you can say, when now see what I'm talking about anti-imaging. Hmm? That means I'm talking about when I'm doing upsampling, then I'm allowing the signal to pass it to the low pass filter. So and how the work of that low pass filter is to avoid the images, unnecessary images. Means now when we can see that we have increased the as we can say, when we increase the sampling rate, that means decreasing the frequency spectrum, that means compressing the frequency spectrum, then we will see more number of pass bands are coming in that interval, which is not desired. As only one pass band is desired, we have whatever the more pass bands which are coming into the picture, they are just the replication of the original image. I repeat, when you are increasing the sampling rate, decreasing the frequency spectrum, nothing but compressing the frequency spectrum, then we will see more number of pass bands which are coming into the axis, which is not desired, as only one pass band is desired. That means whatever the extra pass bands we are getting, that is just the replication of the original images. And instead of watching those images or processing the same images, simply we have to remove those images. So as to remove the images which are the replica of the original images, we are using anti-imaging filter at the output of the upsampling. So that is what how it will do. Why I'm saying anti-imaging, because you can understand that you can see when you see when you have seen the upsampling, you are getting. You can see that what I was telling is earlier you have this much difference in between two successive samples. Now the difference is getting less and less. That means your frequency spectrum is getting compressed. Frequency spectrum will go on getting compressed. If you are doing so, means more number of pass bands is coming into that interval, right? This is your actual interval. Now you are going to reduce this. That means what, this pass bands will frequently come one after the another without much gap. So because of that, what happens? Whatever we are getting the exact replica of the original message. Means something like that. You are watching the movie, and that movie is you are watching at same movie. You are go on watching at different intervals of time or at different frequencies. So definitely, whatever the more number of pass bands which are coming, they are not giving some extra information. They are simply replication of the previous images only. So we are not at all interested on the replication of that images. So that's the reason we have to use the filter at the output of your interpolation. That's why we are calling it as anti-imaging filter. Okay. Now here you can see this. Mathematical uh, expressions for the interpolations. We are interested to get this after upsampling. What will be my v of n? That means in z domain, what will be the output at the interpolation? So what we know, y of z equals to this formula when we are representing the signal in Z domain. Now, what is your y of n? What is your y of n? What did you do here? Y of n is nothing but you have simply taken this, right? Y of z equals to, put the values of this y of n, something like this. Now, we know that what we know, if you recall, x of z equals to summation over n equals to minus infinity to plus infinity x of n into z power minus n. This is equals to x of z only. So when you want the relationship with respect to this output with input, we are going to do some simple mathematical arrangements. Here, assume this equals to something, some factor, call it as m. Substitute into this, you get m equals to minus, same, correlate this. What I'm saying is, we know what you know. Here you can see, as I have written, y of z, frequency domain representation when you apply z transform on it. Y of z equals to summation over n equals to minus infinity to infinity y of n into z power minus n. This is the formula, right? This is the derivation. This is the main exact thing which we want to have. Now you want relationship between this output with respect to your input when you are doing upsampling, right? So for this is what the standard one. Now you are substituting the value of y of n. Y of n, you are thinking that this is your x of n by I. Now you have kept this value as something as m, and then we have rearranged the equations. So that what you can see here, this is something like this. This is something like this. That means, can I write this complete as what we wrote here? Y of z equals to this, right? When it is so. Now, here it is x of n into z power minus n is nothing but x of z. Now here, x of m into z power I to the whole power minus n. That means, instead of z here, I have z power I. That's it. Rest is your x of z only. But what is z? Z power I. That's why we have written y of z equals to x of z to the power I. If you say here z equals to r e power j omega, where r radius is equals to 1, and therefore you can rewrite the equation like y of z equals to x of e power j omega I. This is I, not L. X of e power j omega I. Means this, I was saying about anti-imaging, right? You can see from this frequency spectrum even. Here earlier, this was your input, x of e power j omega. Duration is from minus pi to pi. Hmm. When you do to the upsampling, what is happening is, if you see this is minus pi to pi, your signal was existing, right? Now here you can see, because of the upsampling, your signal is present at minus pi by I into pi by I. That means if you see, focus on this, if you focus on this width and this width, definitely it is much more larger and this is much more less. Means when you are having only one sample, at that time when you do the upsampling, the another signal also will interfere into it, right? So this is what we are saying, we have to remove. Only we have want this to get processed, not the rest one, because this is what only we have got the output when we have done the upsampling. That's it. Now the same thing you have to do in the decimation. Decimation in Z domain, nothing but time and frequency domain of representation. Like how you have said over here is x of n equals to x of n by I. When n values varies from 0 plus or minus I plus or minus 2i plus or minus 3i and so on. Same way in case of decimation, you have the equation like, one has to remember this. This is the figure for your decimation input. sampling rate, decimation by factor D, output y of m, nothing but fx by d, fy equals to fx by d. So the formula is y of m, means the output which you are getting after the downsampling is x of n into d, x of n into d, where n values 0 varies from 0 plus or minus d plus or minus 2d and so on. Because there it was n by I, here it is n into d. You can see here even what is that, n equals to 0, n equals to plus or minus I, right? N equals to I by I, answer is 1. 2I, if you substitute 2I here, it is I, means what, I get cancelled, you got x of 2. Then 3I, x of 3, means what you can see when you are doing this, you are getting the values of x of 0, x of 1, x of 2, x of 3, x of 4 and so on. When you have this kind of relationship, x of n into d, now d is this, right? 0, no issues. Now n equals to d, you will get 2d, then 4d, then 8d, and so on. That means you can see when you write your output equation in this form, we are getting the output which obtain will have the dropping of the samples. Can you see that? There I wrote n by I means what? Now you put the value of n as I, 2i, 3i, 4i, so on. That time what happens, your I get cancels and your values are coming like 1, x of 1, x of 2, x of 3, x of 4, x of 5 and so on. Here, as you have x of n into d, now put the value of your n is from 0, no issues, x of 0, first sample will be as it is. Then next sample is plus or plus d, let us say only I am taking plus d, d into d, you will get 2d, right? Means you can see x of 2, not x of n, where earlier when you did x of n by I, that time you got the samples like x of 0, x of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here if you concentrate, here you will get x of 0, then x of 2, then x of 4, then x of 8 and so on. That means 1, 3, 3, 5, 6, 7, these samples are get lost, these samples are get dropped, right? That is what we want to do in your decimation even, that is in downsampling. That's why these are the important expressions to mathematical expressions to exhibit the behavior of upsampling and the downsampling respectively. Okay. Now to do that, that means we have to drop these samples in between and get the z domain relationship of your decimation. What we have to do is this: you take, let us consider, because we want derivation for your this, let us take a signal x of n equals to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, some samples. This is your analog signal actually. From that we have taken some amount of samples. Okay, this is your actual x of n you are going to get. Now, what I want from the downsampling, I should not insert the 0, I should drop the samples. That means I should not insert the number of samples in between, but rather than that, what I should do, I should drop the symbols from that actual original image, right? So how to do that? How to do that? This is my actual signal coming. Now I have to drop the samples from the given input. To, to do that, I am going to use a periodic sequence, or we'll definitely we are going to use a periodic sequence of pulses which is having the magnitude constant. For our sake of simplicity, is having the magnitude constant, and the this periodic train of pulses, which is something like this. What you can see here, n equals to 0, signal exists. Now here, now you just extend this your actual input. What is that actual input? Is this extended? Now you are using some periodic train of pulses, hmm, impulse sequence, which is taken in such a way that when, because I am going to multiply these two, so when I multiply, I should get the dropping of samples. So what did I do? At first sample, I did not take any value. That means I am multiplying with 0, then 1, then 0. 1 0 alternatively, 1 0 1 0 1 0 1 0 1 0 and so on. Now when you take C of n, that's nothing but x of n into p of n, is some constant, some values I'm using into your analysis to get the pictorial representation as well as mathematical representation. Now C of n is nothing but p of n into x of n. P of n, nothing but p of n into x of n. X of why I'm doing all this? Because I want to drop the number of samples. To do that, use a periodic train of pulses, which is having uh, sequence at some intervals and other intervals which I don't want. I'm simply putting it a zero value. So when I'll multiply this to what you can see at n equals to 0, n equals to 0 here, it is 1, 1, the output will be 1. Now at this, the magnitude is there. So let us say 3. 3, but here at this n equals to 1, what I got is 0 magnitude. When I multiply this, definitely the output will be 0. That means here the next sample, the output is 0. For the next coming sample, here it is some value, here it is some value. When they are multiplied, definitely you will get some value over there. That means your signal exists here. Now same way you go on multiplying this sequence with this. What you can observe is you are having, what you are having is, if you compare this x of n with this c of n, x of n with c of n, you can see you got the almost shape like that only. Only thing is you have reduced the number of samples. You have dropped the samples in between. You have dropped the samples, or you can say you have removed the all non-zero elements. Now this is what your actual signal. This is what you have taken the pulses. When you have multiplied this, you got something like this. Now again, I don't want this non-zero values, right? I want to, sorry, I don't want these zero values. Only I want all the non-zero values only. So that means what I can say is, let us say I'm writing using one more y of m equals to c of md. Okay, either you can see here n, or you can write the as a m. So here just make the note that this is all I'm talking about in terms of the term m. Now y of n equals to c into md. What is that c into md means? I don't want this, I don't want this. The zero elements I want to remove so that I can process it easily at faster rate. So simply if I recollect those, if I taken those non-zero elements only, my spectrum will be something like this. That's what. Now this is what the graphical representation when you will take input signal, when you want to drop the samples, do this process, obtain the samples. The samples you can see they are all zeros and non-zero elements. Now remove the all zero elements and take out the non-zero elements, which will get something like this. Now for this p of n, now for this p of n and x of n is our area of interest, right? Now to get this p of n, what I'm saying is p of n is periodic impulse with a period of d, periodic impulse response or periodic sequence of pulses with a period of d. That means if I use IDFT, which with a magnitude of 1, with a magnitude of 1, that means when I use IDFT on it, I can say your p of n equals to 1 by d, where I varies from 0 to d minus 1. As magnitude is 1, the value is 1. As it is a periodic, we can write e power j 2 pi kn by d. That you can either write using IDFT on p of n, we get this, or as p is a periodic impulse response with d, we can write like this. Okay, so you have this p of n. Now you want c of n or c of m, whatever you can say. C of n, let us say I will, now I'm using the letter m over here. C of m equals to x of m into p of m, and y of m equals to c into m of d. So what is your c of md here? C of md is nothing but x of md into p of md, because here instead of this n, you are replacing with MD for non-zeros values. If it is of zero values, simply you can take this n and n only. So y of c of MD equals to x of MD into p of MD. Now when you apply Z transform on this, I didn't do anything, don't get confused. Simply I want input multiply with sequence, you will get a new sequence which includes zero and non-zero element. And now I don't want the zero elements, only I want non-zero elements. So this is what the two equations. Now I am interested to talk about all the samples which are coming with the factor of d, with the period of d. That's why I'm writing in terms of x of md, p of md, or c of md. That's it. So now this is what your output obtained. Now when you apply Z transform on that y of m, what will be that? Is nothing but y of z. When you apply Z transform of y of n, what you will get? Y of z equals to summation over n equals to minus to infinity y of n into z power minus n, right? That is what we get now. Here, now this is what, instead of writing y of n, here it is y of m equals to c of md, right? Now when you apply the Z transform on this y of m, what you get? Y of z equals to m summation varies over minus infinity to infinity y of m z power minus m. Now what is your y of m? Y of m is your c into c of md. Y of m is c of md into z power minus m. Now what is C of MD is nothing but x of MD into P of MD. Now when you substitute this value, when you substitute these values, x of MD is x of MD is as it is, P of MD is your this that you have written. This is your x of MD. This is P of MD into Z power minus M. Now, if you simplify this, the last equation only I have written here. If you simplify this, you will get y of z equals to 1 by d summation over k equals to 0 to n minus 1 x of e power j into omega minus 2 pi k by d, 2 pi k minus omega minus 2 pi k by d. Here, what formulas we have used? The same like in interpolation. This standard formula. What was the standard formula? We said x of z equals to summation over n equals to infinity to minus infinity to plus infinity x of n into z power minus z power I whole minus n. How we have used the formula? Same way here also. If you do one more, two more steps over here, you will get these expressions only. So what these final expressions of decimation indicates is the multiple spectrum of x of j omega, which are the multiple spectrum of x of j omega, which are shifted by k values, and this shifting of the values depends upon this shifting depends upon the value of this k. So that much aliasing occurs when we do decimations, and also it reduces the amplitude by a factor d. This is the actual input which we have applied the ZT on it. We got the frequency spectrum, the multiple frequency spectrum of x of j omega, which are shifted, e for j omega minus 2 by k, right? Frequency shift you are getting, which are shifted by k, and this value of shifting depends upon the factor k, depending upon the value of k. So that much aliasing we can get when we are doing decimation. So to avoid those aliasing at the input only, we are going to use the low pass filter to avoid the aliasing effect. And moreover, you can see it is divided by d. That means it is also reduces the amplitude by a factor of d. It also reduces the amplitude factor D. That means I can say original input spectrum is shifted by k samples, and k depends upon your D, and the amplitude is scaled by the factor of D over here. That means you can say here it is you will get you have amplitude scaling, this many number of copies, this many number of copies you will be having, and this is this omega by D. This omega by D is your frequency rescaling, and this 2 pi k will be your frequency shift. So I uh, I repeat that when you do the decimations and what are the equation you obtain, you can conclude from that equation is your amplitude is scaled by the factor D, your original input spectrum is shifted by K sampling, and the K depends upon your D. Or in other words, we can say the multiple spectrum of your X of j omega, which are shifted by K samples, the value of that shifting depends upon this, and that much aliasing, that there's a possibility of getting that much aliasing effect at the output when we are doing decimations. And also it reduces the amplitude by the factor of D. That means how many copies you will get is D minus 1 copies. What is the frequency shift you get is 2 pi k. What is the frequency rescaling which you get is omega by D, and the amplitude scaling is your this. So this is what, and to avoid this, we are going to use your low pass filter at the beginning only. So the work of the low pass filter which we are using at the interpolation output and decimation input, they are different. One is for imaging, another is for aliasing effect. So this is what we have the fifth unit first part. We are ending over here. Multi-rate digital signal processing. In that you have studied upsampling, downsampling, cascading of I by D or sampling rate convergence of I by D factor, and the last one is uh, your last one is derivation or in Z domain or time domain and frequency domain representation of interpolation and decimation, or else the transforms of interpolation and decimation. This is what for today. From tomorrow class we have to see the finite word length effect, the second topic of the second unit of last unit. So you can leave only 48 members. From my side I have finished. 53, your attendance will not be marked as you left in between. Only you kept attendance and you went off.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Tell me.
Ma'am, actually, first, you we got that